beautiful day. This is the day that we have made as a collective mind. So, if you do not like what you see, you have to become what it is that you want to see, be, experience, and express. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Hi, Mary. Hi, beautiful. Gratitude. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful. Yay, we are here. I am both on IG as well as YouTube. Hi, YouTube. It is wonderful to be back. It is Divine Words of Wisdom on YouTube as well as Divine Words of Wisdom also on Instagram. So I am using both of my phones. Yes, I'm wearing purple. Yay! Yes, I'm wearing purple today. Yay! So I am on both. I'm simultaneously on both YouTube as well as Instagram at the same time. So you can inter-exchange between the two if you guys would like. And it's Divine Words of Wisdom Official on YouTube as well as Divine Words of Wisdom Official here on IG. So how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are well. I am so grateful to be here. As you guys can see the title, we're going to get into it. But before I do all of that, let me go ahead and put in my disclaimers. I am not here to tell anybody what to do or how to be. I am only here to give an example and to express how I understand my now moment. It is by in no way to try to tell you guys what to do because you're here to have your own cultivated experience, how you so see fit to do so by your own initiative and by your own choices of how you are choosing to understand your now moment in the creation of your relative reality. But I am here to give you guys something to think about and be a major part, a major contribution of the remembrance of self because I myself have chosen to remember in this now moment, and I am sharing that essence of myself with you guys. But I'm not here to tell you guys what to do, I am just to example that. All right. And any content creator or celebrity or anybody for that matter that I speak upon on this platform, all information is heavily, heavily alleged, for I was not there to be able to account or attest the validity of such said information to be true or not. That has been placed out there for public consumption. I'm only utilizing that information to be used as an example, but I don't know the validity of it being true because I wasn't there. So it could be or it could be not, right? But nevertheless, it is heavily, heavily alleged because I can't account or attest to it. I'm only utilizing the information to use as examples. And last but not least, I am putting out there this information in a no judgment aspect of being, in the essence of divine remembrance, in harmony, and in divine unconditional love. So there is no judgment here on this platform, on the YouTube side as well as the IG side. There is no judgment. We move in the presence of divine unconditional love, right? In harmony. So I'm divinely grateful to be in this space and to be sharing an aspect of myself with you guys right now. And I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. All right, so let's get this on the board. All right, I don't even know what I'm doing here on the YouTube side, but I'm just going to leave well enough alone on that side because I do know my IG side. All right, so as you guys can see, the title, and the title is "You Are the Formula," and I do have a question that is pinned down at the bottom. And the question is, how many of you have searched for the formula to your success, wealth, or peace? And I want to get into it because I think a lot of times what is happening is that we are moving from an external value. We are searching from an external value. And I want to kind of like give you guys a different perspective to consider, because I know that everything in the way that we have been taught, and the way that things has been shown to us, is that everything has an external code. And I want to show you guys and give you guys a different perspective of how to really know that you come with everything, and in divine remembrance is the provision of that. It does afford us the essence of having the master key to self. And so, I know that, there's so many different versions of, cells that is promoting, that everything is so much on the external side of self, in which it makes a lot of sense for us to feel that it is on the external side of self, because we have been moving from that essence for so long, and that has been ingrained into our nervous system from a survival aspect of being. But we're going to talk about it, and I hope that you guys feel engaged to ask the question of yourself that I have. Well, hello there, Golden Sugar. Yes, indeed, beautiful rising it is. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I am so divinely grateful to have you, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Um, I hope you guys feel inclined to ask the questions, because if you are really truly looking for an answer to a lot of questions that you ask of yourself throughout your day, even though we have, we go along through our day in the manner to which we have been taught. Right, we go along through our day to, because that's the way that we've been taught to go through our day. But what if I told you that there is a better way, right? If there's a better way to reacclimate yourself, retrain your nervous system. And I talk about the hustle and everything like that, and I know that that has been like one of the major prominent things that has been put out there for us to be in the hustle of it all. And that's what we know, and we have seen what we perceive as success, from the hustle. But what if I told you that there is a different way through the essence of your remembrance, where you don't have to hustle? Hustle is a choice, right? And once again, it is nothing against those that are choosing to operate through hustle. This is just another aspect or another perspective for one to consider, if they do not want to exhaust themselves or become addicted to the hustle from a consumptionary aspect of being, right? Because what we're trying to do is come back into the remembrance of self, where we do not have to consume self, right? We don't have to go into the essence of the consumption of our energy in order to be able to have the experience that we want to have within this relative reality. And that's where I come in at. That's where my little bridge comes in, to bridge, with the alternative aspect of understanding self in a whole nother dynamic that already is. It's just that you have forgotten because we chose. Okay, now they say the live is paused. Um, okay, it's a pause due to poor connection. Okay, let's see what happened here. Okay, so it says pause due to poor connection. Not sure. Well, it says pause due to poor connection. Not sure as to why it's pausing, but nevertheless, I'm going to continue to move on the essence on the YouTube side. Um, and let's see if we can try to get, not sure as to why it's pausing. Let's see. Not sure if it's why it's pausing. Okay, let's see. All right, maybe this will help. Okay. And let's see. All right. Okay. So there we go. All right. So on the IG side, you guys, let me know if you guys are able to hear me or not because it paused for a long, long, long time. It paused for a very long time. Not sure, so just let me know whether or not if you guys are still able to so now it just changed. Yes, we're back. Okay, so let me take this do not disturb and put it back. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. All right, so I can hear you now, but it has been pausing. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Um Not sure as to what transpired, but we are we're back in motion. Yes, because it's just weird, but we're back in motion. All right. All right. So with that being said, so Mary says, I can hear you now, but it has been pausing. Yes, I don't know what's going on. It's just I don't know. My internet on my car probably is in and out because I do have both devices connected to the internet. So I don't know if that's probably the reason why. So now I took it off, so I only have one device connected to the internet. So maybe that's probably the reason why. I'm not sure. But we're rolling again. So it would do on the IG side. So that's just really weird. But that's okay. We're here. So if you guys have any questions or want to understand how to reacclimate your nervous system so that you can come out of the scarcity energy. And let me say something about when we speak about scarcity, when we speak about lack, and when we speak about the things that we may perceive as less desired. I want to kind of get us out of the mindset that it's good, that it's bad. It's energy, right? It's energy. And so when we begin to understand that energy is tied to a storyline, right? And so the key essence is to understand the energy that is associated with the storyline. And then that way you can more understand where you are at energetically because you are energy force first. So if you can begin to see yourself and how you're tied into these storylines and how this storyline is being tied to energetically, then you will begin to understand where you are at energetically. Okay. And so that is the key thing. That is the bridge of who I am in the essence of, bringing this sense of awareness to our essence is to understand ourselves as remembrance, to remember self. Because once you begin, God in the flesh. Well, hello there, God in the flesh. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I am so divinely grateful to have you and welcome. And you guys, don't forget, I am also on YouTube right now as well, live. So if you guys want to enter exchange to go on the YouTube side, because I'm going to eventually migrate over into the YouTube side from IG over into YouTube. So I have it right now both going on simultaneously. So you can see me right now on YouTube as well as IG, right? So yeah, so I'm gonna be migrating on that side of the world, okay? But welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm so divinely grateful to have you. Thank you. So the idea is for us, my role here is for us to begin to understand ourselves energetically. So I'm not here to bash any concept of how one is choosing to understand your reality or their reality because it is your chosen reality, and how that reality has been cultivated is based off numerous of things. It's based off of family, friends, environment, what you have chose to adopt, what you have chose to integrate with, that your perception of what is working for you, what we still continue to hold on to, that's probably still not working for us, but because we're so used to it or we think that we have to be a part of it, we're still holding on to it energetically. So the key for me is for me to get you guys to see yourself in terms of the remembrance side of self, because truly the remembrance is the master key to you. Okay, that is the master key. It's the master key to your wealth. It's the master key to love. It's the master key to peace. It's the master key to the perception of, your money and different things of that nature. It is the master key. It's the remembrance of self, because that's when all things that is of you in the true essence of who you are in the knowing of self will come back unto you. Okay, the remembrance. So you always hear me talk about the remembrance of self. And in the essence of the remembrance of self, I talk about the energy and I talk about the hustle, and I understand where the energy of the hustle resides. And I want to give you a contrast to, yes, you can be a part of the hustle, right? You can be a part of the hustle, but then also there's it, where does the hustle reside energetically? And when you plug into the hustle, what does the hustle do for you, right? That's the thing that I want to, kind of, give you guys this doing for you energetically. Okay, that is the key thing that I want to try to bring into the essence of understanding yourself, in the essence of the energy you, the energetic being that is having experiences. And what are these experiences tied to energetically? And how can you now maximize your experiences by understanding yourself first energetically? This is why I say you are the formula, but the only way that you're going to understand that you are the formula is when you begin to understand yourself energetically and understand. And the way that that comes into part is when you begin, for those who have chosen to remember self. Because if you haven't chosen to remember self, this may sound foreign to you. This probably is going to sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. And a lot of times what happened, I noticed that with you guys are afraid to kind of ask questions, but I welcome the questions, because that is the only way that you're going to begin to start to understand who you are. And no question is a dumb question. That is the road to the discovery of who you are in truth, is when you begin to question. When you begin to question the narrative of the external self, is now you're starting to question that narrative so that you can begin to rediscover the self of who you are in truth. That's the only way that you're going to begin to move into the essence of the provision of self in the remembrance of self, right? And that's I'm grateful for, that, being in this space and holding the tone for this space, because uh, quite frankly, that's where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? And I can speak from an essence of experience, because I am, okay, now it's paused again. IG is paused again. Okay, it paused again, you guys. IG is pausing on me. I'm not sure as to why, but it's pausing. But yeah, so I just wanted to Mr. Overett. Hi, Mr. Overett. Hey, my beautiful friend. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful to have you. And welcome, welcome, welcome. And Mr. Overett said, external, doubt the external to find you. Yes, you question it. You question the things, because what happened is that when we like a lot of the things that are happening right now, the hustle mentality, everybody's on a grind, everybody's on a hustle, and yes, it works, but it's a depletion, right? But if what I want to bring into the essence, it's still pausing. I don't know why it's just constantly pausing, you guys. But what I want to bring, yeah, it paused, you guys. IG is pausing. YouTube, you guys are fine. You guys are on the flow. I appreciate you on YouTube. That's why I said, you guys, IG, you might just have to, come over to the YouTube family, because YouTube is not giving no issues. IG is giving all the urshes, okay? Not issues, the urshes, okay, with the pauses and stuff. You might come on over here to the YouTube side. And I'm still not able to see. I don't even know how to get welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. And I don't even know how to get the I don't even know how to get the whatchamacallit up. Let me see the top fans. Um, be the first. And okay, I don't even know how to get anybody to say anything. I don't know. I guess it'll pop up if somebody decides to say hello or whatever the case would be. But I don't see anything over there yet. I see people there, but I don't see anybody saying anything. Um, I'll find you on YouTube. Same, yes, it is the same handle, Divine Words of Wisdom Official. Yes. And it should say I'm live. Hopefully it does. I'm not sure because I haven't been on here for quite some time. So it should say I'm live. Um, I don't know what this is. I'm just learning these little tools. I probably should have tested it out before I got on here. But nevertheless, I'm here. I'm Chia. Oh, okay. So that's what that is. I'm just trying little things to see. Um, okay, I don't know what. Let me see what this is. All messages. Okay. So, all right. So now I just wanted to yay! Now I see it. And now I can see. Okay. Hey, I can see it now. Okay, now I see it. Thank you, Mr. Britt. I'm grateful. So, so, so now I want you guys to understand yourself as an energy being, energy being that is choosing to have a relative reality in this particular energy vortex. And the question to ask yourself is my chosen experience, is it taking, do I feel that it's more taking away from me, or do I feel like I'm in flow? Because these are the precursors to determine how you are experiencing this reality energetically. Okay, this is how you begin to understand the energetic being having the experience, right? And how the energetic being is being plugged into the experience. And my guidance is within, is giving me the differentiation between, if I move from an essence of a remembrance experience, that I'm not being consumed by the density, right? And to give you an example of what being consumed by the density looks like, and not being consumed by the density, is firewood and the, what was the name of it? What was it called in the Bible? What was it called in the Bible? What was it called in the Bible? The burning bush or the holy bush? The holy bush, like the holy bush or the burning bush. I don't know exactly what it was called, but the burning bush was burning, but it wasn't being consumed because of the energy that it was not being consumed. It was still whole, it was still intact. But the firewood now, right? The hustle is like the firewood, right? It's being consumed and it turns into ashes, and you have to constantly replenish itself. But the holy bush, right, in the Bible, it was always replenishful, and it was never being consumed. So if you understand that burning bush, thank you, Mr. Overett. If you understand that concept between like the burning bush and the firewood, right? The firewood is the hustle, the burning bush is the remembrance of self, because now you're moving from a different frequency, a different octave of light, right? And so that essence of moving from a different octave of light, right, is a different frequency. Now you're moving from overflow. So what that does in your sovereignty, now you're actually moving from high legs. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful, and welcome. Thank you for being here. And I just want to put out there that I'm on YouTube as well. If you ever get a chance to go onto YouTube. I am also on YouTube under the same name, Divine Words of Wisdom Official. So I'm on YouTube as well as IG. Um, Simultaneously, so you guys can exchange between the two, but eventually I'm going to be migrating over fully on to the YouTube side as well, so you can guys can exchange for right now. All right. So if so the hustle is like that firewood, right? But the essence of you, the burning bush, is you in divine remembrance, right? It is the overflow of you. It is the sovereign you who has remembered themselves, and then all things are going to come back to you. The sovereign you, the remembrance you, is the master key. If you guys, these are keynote things that I'm going to give you so that it can kind of stick with you to understand that whenever you do decide to choose to fully to remember that the remembrance of self is the master key to all things that is of you. And once you have chosen to remember, then that is when your nervous system is now going to start to provision itself to respond energetically to what you have chosen. When you have chosen to remember, the nervous system now has to come out of survival mode, right? And provision itself back unto itself to the true self of the remembrance of self, which is a whole nother totally different vibrational essence of being energetically. So these are some of the things that we are, that this channel is going to begin to start transitioning those who are ready to remember and also move into their sovereign state of being. Sovereignty is, for me, in terms of how I understand my now moment, is not a piece of paper. It is who I am in truth. There is nothing in writing that can tell me that I'm whether I'm sovereign or not. It is a state of being. It is a knowing. It is an energetic resonance in frequency. Okay, so he's blowing off my car. But I had to check and see what that was, you guys, because I am on the outside. He's blowing off my car. That's nice of him. I'm grateful. So sovereignty is, thank you. Sovereignty is a frequency. It is a state of being. Okay, so once you begin to understand that sovereignty is not a piece of paper, in the lower mind they may tell you that you have to externally delegate yourself as a sovereign being, but in the higher essence or the higher echelon of being, sovereignty is a state of being. It is a knowing. It is a frequency. It is a divine tone. And so once you begin to understand yourself in the remembrance of self, it bypasses all of the external validations that tells you that you got to do this and you got to do that in order to get to that and all this other kind of stuff. So I am that bridge between the external version of you and the sovereign version of you in the divine remembrance. I am that bridge for you guys to understand that once you have chosen to remember, the provisioning of your nervous system has to follow suit of that. And when you decide to understand what that provisioning of energy is going to do for you, it's not going to be a fun situation. Because remember your provision, your current situation in terms of your nervous system has been on survival mode because it has been moving from a premise or a sense of understanding of lack or how can I say, um a debt-based type sense of understanding, right? A limited version of self, or a debt-based sense of understanding, or a dense-based sense of understanding, or you have understood yourself from a sense of a depletion. Okay, so it's all the density has told you that you're limited, that this is a debt-based sense of understanding, that you only can go but so far and blah 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 or what have you, right? Hi, Cosmos. Cosmos is in the building. Gratitude, my brother, for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I am so divinely grateful to have you, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here, my friend. I have to remind you that I'm also on YouTube simultaneously right now. So if you ever want to just alternate between the two, just show support on the YouTube side, I am also live on YouTube as well. Okay. So I'm also live on YouTube as well. So so your body now has basically been acclimated to the deficit side. I'm grateful. Thank you. The deficit side of the energy, because you're thinking that you're moving from a sense of depletion, and you're not really moving from a sense of depletion. You're just thinking that you are moving from a sense of depletion. Hi, Trudy. Gratitude. Trudy says, "Good morning, Divine. I went through this recently. I thought I was dying. I was having facial numbness and muscle spasms all over my body." Yes, and I'm let me put this out there. I'm not a medical advice. What is it? I'm not a doctor, so I can't give any medical advice in terms of anything. So I'm not in any type of practice or space to give medical advice. However, the body does respond energetically. Okay. So in the mundane sense, when it has manifested itself into the physical side of being, because there are okay, so to give you an idea, my story is I stopped going to the hospital because on paper, when they would run all of the tests on me on paper, I was perfectly fine, right? So what that said to me is that if I didn't get a grip of my psychology, or if I didn't get a grip of whatever that was going on, it was going to eventually manifest itself into physical form. So when you see yourself going to the hospital because you're aching, your body is aching and you're not feeling well, and when you go to the hospital, they're like, well, we don't really see anything. We're just going to give you, some IV fluids and, two Tylenols or whatever the case may be. But you know that you're feeling like shit, right? You can't believe that even though you're going to the hospital and you're feeling like shit, and, you're feeling like crap. Okay. So that means that you have not yet manifested your ailments in full physical form yet, where it is now being reflected through the medical practice. So you have time to kind of counteract that energy before it manifests itself in full physical form. But that feeling that you're getting is saying that, oh, it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Because you're stressing the body, right? You're stressing the body with the energy that you are in agreement with to experience from a deficit. Because all yes, that is exactly what I did. See, yes, because I have to say that I'm not a medical person, but however, I do understand how energy, the premise of energy and what it does to the sacred vessel. The sacred vessel is going to give you, hints of what's actually transpiring, and what you're doing to manifest it into physical form, because everything starts from the unseen before it comes into the seen. Okay. So when you start feeling the ailments and everything like that, and you go to the doctor, or you go and have tests ran, and they're saying, well, right now we don't see anything. You're probably just a little bit stressed or whatever. This is why I said that I want to try to get you guys to understand yourself from an energetic perspective, that your energy first, so that you can begin to look at the experiences that you are in agreement with, and understand the vibration of the experience that you are plugged into, because 9 times out of 10, it may be the culprit of why you are experiencing the experiences that you are experiencing, because your energy first, right? Every experience is plugged into a vibrational experience. It's plugged into how you are experiencing it vibrationally, being that you are in agreement with it. Thank you, Kaz. I went within and told myself I am healed. Yes, you went within telling yourself that you are healed. Yes, that's one thing. But you also have to be aware of the energy that is constantly facilitating, because if you're telling yourself that you're healed but you're in an environment, or you're still going to energies, if you're still plugged into the same energy source that is causing the ailment, right, it becomes counterproductive, because at some point you're going, okay, so when you say that I am healed, what may happen is that something is going to sever so that you can become healed. So that 9 times out of 10, whatever it is that is causing your body to become out of alignment, because that's all that it is that you're out of energetic alignment to the truth of you. Remember, all ailments comes from unalignment. And I probably shouldn't say this, but you're unaligned. Okay, all ailments, body aches, sicknesses, dis-ease, energetically unaligned. Okay, so you see how quantum simplified that is? Right? You're out of alignment, you're going against self. Anytime you go against self, and let me say this, it's not right or wrong, it's just about energy. It's not to judge anyone, because this is how the construct has cultivated us and we accepted it. We were in agreement with the value of it. However, that agreement came into part. Okay. So it's no judgment on anybody in terms of the chosen reality. But now an awakening moment has come in to give you a different, to give you options to choose a different narrative, to choose a different energy, to choose a different aspect of being in knowing. Okay. So what happens is, if you are making a proclamation that you want to become well, then what that says is that you have to sever the energy source that goes against you becoming well. You may not know what that energy source is, especially if you are under survival, because a lot of times the energy source that's probably making you not well could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be a situationship, it could be your own children, and it could be a barrage of many different things, because we do not understand the power source of this, because we don't see ourselves as energy. We're just experiencing. We're just thinking that we're experiencing these people, places, and things, and we're not understanding the energy source that it carries, right? So when you begin to see yourself as energy first, right, and you begin to understand the connectional value, so that relationship that you're in houses the energy. Where does that, or do you feel like you're trying to survive this relationship? Do where does this relationship liberate you, make you feel free, make you feel floaty, make you feel fluid? Do you feel aligned, or do you feel drained? Do you feel like it's a struggle? Do you feel like, damn, do you feel that's a keynote sign to that power source, to that situation? A lot of times people are not ready to sever the tie. They're not ready to sever the energy source that is draining them, because of how they understand their relative reality, how they've been cultivated to understand their relative reality. Okay, so it's still a divine choice, because some energy, that density is hard to, sometimes that density is hard to sever, about how you understand it. That density cord is hard to sever. But that is the key reason why you're probably feeling the way that you are, because you're in the scarcity mindset, you're in the lack mindset, you're in the survival, and all of those particular vibrational chords reside in density. It consumes you, it makes you feel depleted. It make you go against self. If you're in a situation and every day you like, I need to leave the situation, but you still go because whatever the reasons are, you're going you're going against self because the self has told you you need to leave, but you still going. You're still choosing to go. But the self said you need to walk away. You need to leave because this energy source is out of alignment to who you are. It's out of alignment, but you choose to stay because your energy first. Remembrance will get you into the essence of knowing this. Anytime you go against self, you are moving out of alignment. 9 times out of 10, it's because you are in survival energy. Because when you become your sovereign self, you're not bowing. You're not bowing to those frequencies because you know that those frequencies are not there to serve you. It is there to deplete you. And when you get in, what is that word? Quantumly entangled into that vibrational vortex, that shit, sometimes those energies are hard to sever. It's hard to sever because the density is so thick and it's so strong. Okay? Because your energy first. So sometimes you be like, dang, I need to lead this. I need to lead this, but it's so hard for me to go. It's hard. Why is it? Because the energy source is, you're so deeply entangled into that frequency. And the soul already knows, the soul has already said it's time to go, but the nervous system is still in survival, and your nervous system is trying to catch up. But it's so hard because it's still energetically bound that it doesn't feel safe. This is what it knows. It don't know anything else. But your consciousness and your mental mind done left the shop long time ago. And like, okay, when the body is going to follow, because wherever the mind go, the body has to follow. But the nervous system is like, well, damn, I'm trying to get out of this situation, but shit. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta choose self. No matter what your body is saying, you gotta say when no is no, no is no. When yes is yes. When if somebody say, "Can you do something?" Wow. Okay, so the video on IG just got hot. As you guys can see here, it just went. I don't know if it's gonna show. It just went hot. So I'm gonna see if I could try to get it to cool off a little bit to see if I could get it to come back. So a lot of you guys they're probably gonna try to come over here on YouTube to see. Hopefully they'll come over here on YouTube because I'm still here on YouTube. Let me see if it. Nope, it's still hot. Okay, there it goes. It came back. All right, it came back. All right, let's see what happens. All right, you guys, it went hot. IG playing with me. IG is playing with me. IG playing with me. So let me just try to hold it. So yeah, IG playing. IG playing. And I don't, I'm trying to keep it close so where, but IG playing. So I don't know where you guys were, where I was or whatever, but I'm gonna try to repeat what I said. Okay. YouTube is the truth. I know YouTube. Hey, YouTube is holding on. YouTube is really holding on. I'm trying to see. Let me put the fan on it so that it doesn't get see if I can get it so it doesn't get hot. Yeah, YouTube is holding on. But I'm gonna try to get a little bit. I'm gonna try to. My house is just so crowded, so it's kind of hard to, the noise and stuff like that is so crowded. But yeah, so when you begin to understand yourself as energy, it changes the dynamic of, how you begin to plug yourself into these situations because these situation has an energy. it's an energy. It's like plugging a toaster into an energy outlet. What is this outlet? Is it a 50 watt, 100 watt, 12,000 volts? What is this outlet? So when you begin to understand these energies, situation, these storylines as an energy source, and does this energy source deplete you, or do you feel fluid? Then you can understand, am aligned, or am I going against self? If there's an aspect of you saying you need to leave, you need to let this go, and you still trying to stay because, oh, I've been in it for 25 years or whatever, okay, nobody is telling you to divorce. Nobody telling you to walk fully away. But at that time, you may need to separate yourself from that energy source so that you can reassess and reacclimate yourself energetically, so that you don't get sick and so that the body don't fall into the manifestation of dis-ease. Because anytime you go, hi T Love, hey beautiful, gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful and welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Because what happens is that, you know, anytime you go against self, you are out of alignment. You are vibrationally out of alignment. So a lot of times we stay because we, our job, our livelihood, because we don't see ourselves in the essence of the burning bush, right? The burning bush that doesn't be consumed. That is your sovereign self. That is yourself in remembrance. That is yourself in overflow. We see ourselves as the wood that's in the fire, that's being burnt, turned into ashes. That's how we see ourselves, as being the wood that's being consumed. That is the survival self. So the survival self has to be replenished with another set of wood, right? When we get to the burning bush, the holy bush that is burning, but it's not being consumed. The reason why it's not being consumed is because it is operating at a different frequency. When you operate at a different frequency, now you are breaking up the density, right, of the same survival density. So now you're not operating from that density where you're now being depleted, okay? Because you now know of self in a different essence of being. You understand self in a different aspect of being. So that frequency now is operating different. You're not going to, first of all, you're not going to bow to the lower aspect that is going to take you out of self. You're going to say no when it's no, and you're going to say yes when it's yes. Yes, you're not going, and you're not going to feel no way about it, because you're not going to go against self. To go against self takes you out of alignment. The in the okay, so in the illusion tells you that you got to work 30 years, blah blah blah, and this and that or whatever, right? That's what has calibrated our nervous system. That's why our nervous system is in the hustle, because of the storyline. That's why I say it's not bad, it's not good, it's how we understand the reality and what we have chosen to plug into energetically. And those ideologies, not good or bad, is just the chosen reality, is why the nervous system operates in the manner that it does, until you decide to choose a different aspect of being and a different frequency. That's when it chooses to move in a different aspect of being. Thank you, nature. Hey, beautiful. Thank you. For those of you guys on YouTube, Nature Wolf always give me hearts in the color of my shirt. She's so beautiful. I love that. Yes, of source, right? Source essence, because all okay. So when I talk about source, I tell you guys that we are source. Source is in everything, but source has allocated itself to how it wants to express energetically, vibrationally. So source can express it, and to give you just a visual, source can express itself as a 10,000 watt, and then it can express itself as a 5 watt, just to give you guys, the idea of how source can express itself. But if, of course, it's far much more vast than that. But just to give you an idea of how source expresses itself energetically, vibrationally, and in frequency, right? Right? So I'm just giving, just to give you an idea, right? So when you in the lower mind, in terms of survival, the 30-year thing or whatever the case may be, don't get me wrong, because there are some people that are working a 9 to 5 30 year and they are okay with it. Okay, they're okay with it. But the day that you decide that you're not okay with it anymore, that is when you have become out of alignment, because you are no longer in agreement with the experience. And when you no longer is in agreement with the experience, where you're struggling to get up every day, you're beginning to make excuses because you think that this is the only reality, that's when you're going against self. Anytime you're going, and I understand that, oh, she ain't making no sense because reality is real. Yeah, reality is real. Whatever you make real is going to be real to you. You're not going to get no argument out of me. The difference between maybe me and somebody else, I'm not here to tell you how to understand your relative reality, right? I'm not here to do that. Because if you come with to me with resistance, all that's telling me is that you are in agreement with the reality that you are experiencing. And who am I, with you being the source energy that you are, to come and tell you, oh, you wrong for how you are choosing to experience your source energy? You will not get me to go against how you are choosing to experience and express. That is not going to happen. Okay, right? But if you want to understand how that expression is being expressed energetically, and understand that these storylines is tied to an energy source, because source is in everything, and understand that source energy holds a vibration, and how you're plugged into that situation energetically is going to determine whether or not if you are aligned or unaligned. And your alignment is contingent on how you experience, whether you are experiencing yourself in survival, or you have now found a way to experience yourself in remembrance, right? In remembrance, or in the essence of your sovereign self. Well, then I'm your girl. I'm the one that's going to explain it in that way, but still not to tell you how to be, but just put the information out there for you to know that here's a group, here's an idea, here's an ideology, here's an aspect of self, here's a version of self. When you're ready to shift into this essence of being vibrationally, this is what it could potentially look like for you, right? With your own contouring of how you want to couture it to make it work and fit for you. Okay, that's what, because we understand that it's not about telling anybody how to be. It's about the remembrance of self. I can't tell. Whenever you are ready to remember self, you will begin to remember self. And when you do decide to remember self, just remember that the remembrance of self is the master key. That's the master key, right? When you have chosen to remember, that's the master key. That's the master key to love, money, and that's the master key. Okay? The remembrance of self is the master key. Okay? The remembrance and the sovereignty of self, the what the physical, the sacred vessel is the last thing to become provision, because it now has to shift its essence vibrationally from survival, out of survival frequency, right? Survival frequency, because remember, it's been plugged in the deficit of self, right? The density of self, right? So now it has to shift out of survival frequency into what it is now, the overflow. Okay. So now the physical vessel has to provision itself. Thank you, Kaz. Right? So the physical vessel, the sacred vessel, is the last thing to provision in terms when you have chosen your sovereignty and you have chosen to remember. Okay? That's the ripple effect. The unseen come down to the scene. That's the body. Wherever the mind goes, the body will follow, right? It's the last thing. The physical part of you is the last part of the ripple to follow suit to where the mental plane, the etheric plane, the ripple effect is the last. So the last thing to provision itself to what the consciousness has chosen energetically to experience through energetically. So many of our consciousness have shifted into what what we call the fifth dimensional level of consciousness, what we're calling energetically the fifth dimensional consciousness. So your mind is already fifth dimensional, but your body is still in havoc in 3D, severed to the belief systems of the third dimensional mind. So your nervous system now is trying to recalibrate itself to the fifth dimensional level of consciousness, to where the consciousness has chosen to experience and express in the fifth dimensional level of consciousness, 5D. But I'm not limited. I'm just giving you guys an idea, right? It has chosen to ascend out of the third dimensional level of consciousness. So it's just waiting on your body. It's just waiting on the physical. Okay? It's just waiting on the physical side of you, right? So I'm giving you keynote facts to how to sever the physical side of you. I I wrote down some things. I think I left it though. Let me see if I left it, because I did write down some stuff. So to kind of somewhat recalibrate your physical, the physical side, is that you got to take walks in the morning. You take walks in the morning. You take care of yourself. You change your you change your thought patterns. When you start seeing, telling yourself what you can't do, you change and start saying what you can do. Yes, you have to begin to see yourself in wholeness and not in a fractal sense, right? You have to see yourself in wholeness, because you are whole, thinking that you are separate. You're thinking that you are separate because you chose a reality that constantly inundated you to believing that you were, which is survival. With survival, a lot of people say the hustle, the hustle, the hustle, the hustle. Okay, the hustle is good. The hustle is what it was, but the hustle is like that firewood. It is an addiction. You always got to figure out the next thing to do. You know, the next best thing to do in order to be able to sustain. You got to sustain that fire. But when you're in your remembrance of self, you are the overflow. And what that spillage does, right, in terms of me, really understanding the correction of self, is that it breaks up the density, the spillage, your light, the frequency of light in your overflow. When you reach your sovereign state, when you reach the essence of you in the remembrance of who you are, the overflow of that light in that frequency is really what breaks up the density. That's why, in a sense, the density always comes to test you to see whether or not if you are sovereign or not. It'll bring your cousin Pookie and all of them around there to come test you. Like, you really wanna come, leave this density, or how dare you try to leave this density, or I'm gonna take back my this, or I'm gonna take back that. You understand what I'm saying? It's gonna always test your, to see if you have an emotional response to what's being taken from you. But when you understand that there's nothing that can be taken from you because you are everything, because that's an experience. When you feel that response, like something is being taken from you, that's because that's a clear and cogent sign that your nervous system is still kind of somewhat acclimated to um the survival state. Because once you begin to reacclimate to your frequency, to which your consciousness has chosen, in a okay to which your conscious there we go again, to which your consciousness has chosen, once you begin to reacclimate, then you won't feel as if anything is being taken away from you, because you will know that there's nothing that can be taken away from you, because you are whole. You're not in pieces. Okay? That's the shift in consciousness. The shift in consciousness goes from you believing that something can be taken from you. Then now you realize that nothing can be taken from me. I'm whole. I'm abundant. I'm overflowing. I'm not scarcity. I'm not debt. I don't I don't need somebody to say, oh, if you don't get this now, you're going to be left out. I can't be left out of nothing that I don't want to be a part of. when it's true, when I'm truly aligned to be like you just you're chilled, right? You because you know that if it's not in this lifetime, it's gonna be in the next. Like you chill, like you act like you got all the time in the world, even though you in this avatar, and you realize that once consciousness decides that this avatar is of no more, doesn't mean that it is the end of you. So that's the difference, because now there is a knowing versus you trying to figure it out in a state of unawareness. Well, I don't know. This may be my last rodeo, and I'm just going blah blah blah. Well, yeah, if you in a state of unawareness, that's probably why you operating in survival. Because hell, you don't know if this gonna be your last cup of tea. You don't know. But when you move in a state of remembrance, hell, you can't even forget no more. Because once you remember, it ain't no forgetting. It ain't no more forgetting. It's like the forgetting phase is done. Okay, so you can't, not at least right. You ain't gonna go back into the forgetting phase. Like once you decide to remember, ain't no more forgetting. Okay, right? So that's the difference. Where are you plugged in at energetically? Okay, yeah, cause like it ain't no forgetting, right? So my key essential thing of understanding self, the divine self, the truth of self, knowing self, is that you are the formula. So when they tell you about like the algorithm, and there's a formula to YouTube, and you got to, blah blah blah, this and that or whatever, and in the mundane sense of, that being what it is and everything, you when you do what you love, okay, it pause. Oh gosh. um Young T Money 19. Move, stay centered, self centered, standing in your 360 degrees square. Okay. I and I respect whatever that is to you. I get the part of staying centered. I understand that part. But standing in your 360 degrees square, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I've never been good at math. And my grandfather had the nerve to name me Pi. You go figure that one. So it is what it is. But I respect what it is that you're saying, and the value that it holds and the meaning that it holds. I respect that wholeheartedly, right? Um, but yes, you when you have found that essence of neutrality, the essence of neutrality also helps you in the discovery of uh, reprovisioning your nervous system too as well. Okay, because the key essential thing to the major shift is the provisioning of your nervous system. That is the key essential thing, because when you begin to become when you really want to become aligned, in flow, right? Without having to change the wood every time, changing the wood because the wood done burned out. You want to be that holy bush, that holy burning bush, the bush that is burning but not being consumed because of the frequency that the bush is burning in, right? Because of the frequency that the bush is burning in, it's not burning to consume energy because it is the very essence of itself. Okay, that's where the sovereign being in divine remembrance, where its nervous system is now aligned, it is fully online, it's fully synchronized with the shift in consciousness, with the aspect of the higher self in terms of the soul essence of being. And now the provision of the astral body and the physical body is now in full ripple synchronization. It is fully synchronized. So now you are that burning bush where you're not being consumed, right? Hi, 868 Quran. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful to have you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are not being consumed because now everything is fully aligned and you're in your sovereign state and you're not going against self, because you will not bow to not the person, but the frequency, the energetic frequency that holds the energy source to the storyline that facilitates that energy in order to sustain itself, because every storyline, whether it's a people, person, place, or thing, is connected to an energy source. What frequency does that energy source reside in? Because that's what you, the being, plug into when you allow these particular aspects of storylines into your field of energy. When you allow them within your field of energy, whether it's your mama, daddy, sister, brother, cousin, job, whatever. Okay, it is a source of energy. Where do your mama vibrate? Where do your daddy vibrate? What source of energy at a vibrational level in frequency? What energy source are they plugged in? Their source energy plugged into a vibrational state frequency. Where is it? What are they broadcasting from? What channel are they broadcasting from? Are they broadcasting from, scarcity? What is that? What is it? Are they broadcasting from scarcity? Are they broadcasting from a limited mind? Where the hell are they broadcasting? Is the cup half full, or if the cup empty, or do they even think they even got a goddamn cup? Where are they broadcasting from? What beacon of frequency are they emitting? What are they broadcasting? Because that's what you're tuning into when you allow them within your shared field, when your shared field of energy. So you have to be mindful of people, places, what you're plugging into. This is where the bridge is coming into, at where the hustle is going to make sense to you now. I'm not knocking hustle, but hustle is that wood. And you got to replace wood because the wood turned into ashes. You want to be in the provision where you are that burning bush without being consumed, because that is an option too. You are the holy bush without being consumed, because that's a frequency that is an option, and it falls in the line of remembrance, falls in the line of the sovereign self. And it also is when you are in synchronization where your nervous system is now online with where your soul and your consciousness has chosen to experience and express in tone, in frequency. Okay? So like I said, you are the formula. You are the formula right now for every situation that you're in. You are the key essence. How you see yourself is a defining aspect of how you are experiencing. That's the key. But the master key is remembrance. That's the master key. Divine remembrance is the master key. So for those of you guys who have chosen to remember, that is the true formula. Like I said, ask yourself, how many of you have searched for the formula to success, wealth, or peace? Well, you don't have to search far because you are the formula. What are you plugged into? Like I say, I come into the essence where I'm choosing more signal than distraction. So to give you an example of what that looks like in layman, they told you that you're only using 10% of your brain. So if you want to translate that, that's 10% signal, 90% distraction, right? So they're telling you that you're only getting 10% signal, 90% distraction. That's what that translate in metaphysically. So let's shift that and change the signal, right, to where you're more signal than distraction. I think I sent I think a real I said it in my last live, and I sent the real that I found it from to back it up, where they say that Jobs was 80% signal and 20% noise. And from another observation of someone else, the only person that they know that runs off 100% signal is that of Elon Musk. Now, that's somebody else's perception. But in terms of what you are, how much how much you are distracted by noise. What distracts you that does not serve your purpose? Okay, all right. What you say, Miss Aubrey? What doesn't serve your purpose? Okay, that's a distraction. Anything that takes you away from self is a distraction. More signal, less distraction. 10%, 90%. So when they say, oh, the human experience only use 10% of their brain. Okay, that's 10% signal. That's like a small beacon of signal. Okay. 90% distraction. Everything out there, the noise, the news, what's happening, the politics, the politics and social economic standards and taxes and all of that shit is distraction and entertainment and all this other 90% distraction, 10% signal. So how are you to reach your sovereign self when you're 90% distraction and operating off a 10% signal? And they're constantly reaffirming that, oh, only 10% in your brain. They telling you 11, you guys, right? So let's translate that. Oh, well, I no longer decide to use 10% of my brain no more. I'm not gonna even call it a brain. I'm just gonna say I want to beacon my signal at 80/20. Because I do want a little action, knock about. I do want a little action in my life. So I'll go a little 20% distraction. Because I do, want to do some jet skis and talk a little shit every now and then, because that's the little thug in me. You know what I'm saying? So I do want a little 20% distraction. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I want to be 80%. So you can change the narrative. You don't necessarily have to go by what you have been told, because as a sovereign being, you have the ability to change the narrative of what you tell yourself. It's what you tell yourself. That is the key. I'm grateful for whoever showing me love. Thank you very much on the IG side. Thank you so much. Right? You are it's what you tell yourself. Right? Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. So with that being said, you guys, I want you guys to know that you are the formula. Yes, in the lower mind, they have, different metrics and different things of that nature or what have you. But 9 times out of 10, if you be your true self and you have the confidence and you don't worry about, and I'm not trying to say like do sloppy work or whatever the case may be, but 9 times out of 10, if you just be yourself and you be the truth of you, and you take care of you and you do not go against self, that in itself is a shift in frequency. And you'll begin to see how the provision of that changes, where you begin to attract who you are. You don't have to hustle the next gig, because you begin to become in alignment with those who are of the same calibration. Mary said, yes, is what we tell ourselves. Yes. That self-talk is real crucial. It is really truly what can make you or break you, because even if somebody else comes and tell you you ain't shit, you got to agree to that shit. You got to agree with it. That's the thing. You got to agree with any outside aspect coming to you telling you, oh, you ain't shit. You got to agree to that. You got to, that's the thing. You got to, you still got to give permission for it to exist in your energy field. So when that frequency, so look at it like this. Here come this frequency coming into your energy field, walking up in your energy field to tell you in that deficit, in that scarcity frequency, that dense frequency, to tell you to take away from you in your energy field. In your energy field, here come this dense frequency attached to somebody, right? Source, their source that's choosing to express a dense energetic aspect of being. They're choosing to send out a beacon of a low, like a 40-watt light. Okay, that's what they're choosing to broadcast at 40 watts. Okay, they on AM. Right? So they coming in your energy field to steal your light. Okay, got to agree for it to fit. You must have quit. Yes, and if it doesn't resonate, it's fake. If it doesn't resonate, it's fake. Okay, right? If it doesn't resonate, it's fake. Hey, cuz, so my cousin just came on. Hey, beautiful. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for tuning in. I'm grateful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yay, my cousin is here. Yay. On the YouTube side. Right? Yes, if it's fake, if it doesn't resonate, it's fake. That's how I'm just trying to give you guys some mantra so that you guys can understand it, right? Okay. So here comes this negative density coming into your energy field, right? With its negative self, right? Attached to source energy that is chosen to plug itself into a dense experience, right? Source energy that's chose to plug itself in this experience, chose to experience the forgetful self, right? Because it doesn't remember. Okay, so it's choosing the forgetful self. It's choosing to operate in the dense energy form. It's choosing to express density in the essence of forgetfulness, in scarcity mindset, in what is it, survival essence, and now it's trying in your energy field because you have a resonance tone, right? There's something about your frequency that has placed you in a mirror alignment for this being to be able to be in proximity of you. So there's something about you in belief of self that has allowed this vibrational resonance to be in your space. Okay, and so now here it is come trotting into your energy field. Now you done gave it permission to be because you're in resonance. They say birds of a feather flock together. So now you in resonance with it. So now it's coming into your energy field to tell you that you ain't shit. Now it done told you that you ain't shit. The thing about the shitting ass thing now is that you got to agree to the shit. You still, even with all of that, even with you being a vibrational match, with you being in the shared energy field, it's coming up. You at the very last, you still got to agree with it. You still got to agree with it. You still got to say, yeah, I ain't shit. You still got to energetically agree. You see what I'm saying? But a sovereign being would have saw that coming and looked at that thing and been like, uh-huh, I send you back unto which where you come from, and I release you unto yourself. Yeah. Cause what you say don't have no bills or no hills or no rivers or no valleys over here. Okay, we don't create from that energy. We don't create from that energy over here. Okay. Now we ain't saying that you can create from that energy over there, but we just choose to create from a different vibrational essence of being over here. And I am aware that misery wants company, and I just choose the reality of my consciousness, right? Right, it's not part of my belief. Right, you have to choose. You have to understand that these variations of beings comes with a plug of energy. They got a battery pack. And if you gotta open up that battery pack and see, okay, where you plugged in at, and 9 times out of 10, you can kind of tell by just their frequency alone. Hey, third eye, hi, my beautiful friend. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I don't know what you got here. What you got here? You got they so small. I see magnifying glass. I can't see the other one, and I see a life preserve. I can't see the other one though. I don't know what the other one is. You're gonna have to spell it out for me because I can't see the other one. It's so small, right? So when you decide to begin to read the vibration, the frequency, what they're beaconing. Hi, third eye. When you see what they're beaconing, that changes the dynamic of what you allow to remain in your energy field. Because the even though they come into your energy field, they still have to ask for permission to be. They still got to say permission to speak, permission to be, permission to quantumly exchange or energetically exchange. They still have to ask permission. That's why it's no reason to be afraid of demons and all that stuff. That they got to ask for permission. Every aspect has to add you. If you are aware of self, you understand that they're just another part of you. They're just another vibrational essence of you operating from density, and you have to give them permission to scare you. You have to give them permission to scare you. You have to give them permission to. Yeah. Okay. So that's the truth, and you're aligning to it because you hold the vibrational essence to be in that space. You hold it. So because you're whole, you're everything, you just don't remember, right? But when you begin to remember, you can go 88 keys. You can go up and down the scale. But when your consciousness has chosen a different octave of light, anything outside of that, you're out of alignment. IG done paused the live again. YouTube, IG done paused the live again. Okay, so now they back. IG paused the live. Anytime you operate outside of what consciousness has chosen, your consciousness, if your consciousness is chosen to ascend or chosen to shift into a different vibrational state, anything outside of that, you're out of alignment. And you're not going to feel well. You're not going to feel good. You're going to feel like the world is on your shoulder. It ain't going to feel good because your consciousness and your soul, down effect, is waiting on your physical self to choose to as well. And that is a part of your nervous system. So when your consciousness has chosen, so anytime because when I always use my job as an example. My manager at the time asked me to stay, to help leave, stay, because she was hoping that I would just stay. So she was just trying to buy time. Can you just stay until the young lady come back from maternity? Blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, going against self, knowing good and goddamn well I've been planning on trying to leave. I done told my customers I'm leaving and everything. Right? I'm telling my customers that I'm leaving and all of that. But I went against self. You don't go against self. When the self says it's time to go, it's time to go. Now, if you have to begin, if you are the type that's still on survival and you're like, well, I can't just leave right now because I got, this, that, and the other. Well, you better start making some preparations because to get yourself out of whatever that situation is that's going to be suitable for you, but you need to sever that tie. Because you, until you do, you are going against self. Some people go against self because they waiting until retirement. They're waiting until their retirement. And as soon as they retire, 3 years, they dead. They dead. They can't even enjoy the retirement. They dead because they went against self. I'm just waiting until I get my 20 years. I'm just waiting until I get my 30 years. And as soon as they retire, the paper, the ink on the paper, 2 years, 3 years, they dead. I shit you not. Because they went against self. Because all them years when the body was telling them you need to stop, you need to do something else, you need to do this ain't it, this ain't for you. Well, I only got 2 more years to go, I only got 3 more years to go. I only got you going. Anytime you go against self, you are out of alignment. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a divine choice. You can do that. This is your experience. But don't be asking the question, well, why am I not where I want to be? Because you're going against self. Why am I not further along where I think I should be? Because if you question the reality, it's because you're going against self. When you begin to question the reality in a way that is like you're asking yourself, why am I not where? But if you're asking a different set of questions, that's different. But if you asking them, why am I not here? What am I doing now? Because you're out of alignment. You're going against self at some level. What is the truth of you? And that's the key thing. The truth of you, the authenticity of you, what power source these people, places, persons, and things is powered into, seeing yourself as energy first. I'm going to try to get some information about how to recover your how to recover. Then pause live on IG.